Musk-Trump feud. Every Christian should know this. What happens when two of the most powerful men in the world turn on each other? Donald Trump and X. These two men couldn't seem more different. Trump, the victorious politician, and Musk, the tech genius. But together, they formed an alliance that stunned the world. Trump gave Musk a powerful job, leading a group called the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. Musk's mission: to cut billions from the government's budget. For a while, it seemed like nothing could stop them. But here's the thing about alliances built on power. They often crumble. Something was brewing beneath the surface, something that would tear these two apart. What could turn friends into enemies so fast? And what does it mean for us as believers? Let's find out, but brace yourself. This story is about to take a wild turn. Musk said it was a revolution. Trump said it was genius. This wasn't a small job. Doge was Musk's big chance to change Washington, to make it small, bold, and fearless. He jumped in like a man who believed he could live on Mars. In just weeks, people started protesting outside Tesla. They held signs that said, "Musk, you're not our boss." But Musk didn't stop. He posted from the Oval Office, "The people voted for reform. We're delivering." But this was a huge challenge. Doge wasn't just about saving money. And not everyone was happy. To them, he was a rich man with too much power. The truth is, Doge's big promises were harder than they thought. By spring, they had only cut 0.5% of spending, not even close to $2 trillion. What would happen when Musk's grand plans were set? And how would Trump react when his golden allies started questioning his moves? Stay with us. The storm is brewing. The tension spiked in April 2025 when Trump unveiled sweeping tariffs, 25% on imports, a cornerstone of his America First policy. Musk, whose Tesla factories relied on global supply chains, saw red. On X, he warned of economic disaster, a rare public jab at the president. But the tariffs were just the beginning. A single decision was about to push Musk to the edge, and it wasn't about money. Enter Jared Isaacman, Musk's trusted ally and a billionaire astronaut handpicked to lead NASA. His nomination was a triumph for Musk, a chance to reshape space exploration. But on June 5, 2025, Trump pulled the plug. Musk was livid. On X, he called it a slap in the face to innovation. This wasn't just a personnel dispute. Days later, Musk made his choice. On May 28, 2025, he stepped down from the Department of Government Efficiency, citing irreconcilable differences. Musk's exit wasn't just personal, it shook the markets. Tesla's profits were already slipping, down 3% that quarter. Investors wondered, could Musk afford to burn this bridge? And for Trump, losing Musk's $100 million in campaign pledges threatened his political machine. The stakes were sky high, and the world was watching. As spring turned to summer, the cracks in their alliance were impossible to ignore. Musk's X posts grew sharper. What would it take to turn these cracks into a chasm? One bill, one post, one moment of reckless pride was all it needed. And that moment was coming, faster than anyone could imagine. The stage was set. The players were ready. All it took was a spark to ignite a feud that would shake the nation. Stay with us, because the storm is about to break. In the spring of 2025, a single spark ignited a firestorm that would consume the Trump-Musk alliance. It wasn't a personal slight or a petty jab. It was a bill, a massive, sprawling piece of legislation that President Trump called his Big Beautiful Bill. After months of public harmony, This bill became the wedge that drove Trump and Musk apart, revealing the fault lines in their partnership. This wasn't just any policy. It was a behemoth. Tax cuts for corporations, immigration reforms, and a price tag that stunned even the boldest fiscal hawks. $2.4 trillion added to the national deficit. Trump hailed it as the cornerstone of his second term, a legacy to cement his vision of a thriving America. The House, riding the wave of his 2024 victory, pushed it through in May. But the Senate? That was another story. But not everyone was celebrating. Enter Elon Musk, and he wasn't happy. On June 3, 2025, Musk took to X, his megaphone to 220 million followers, and unleashed a torrent of fury. This bill is a disgusting abomination. It undoes everything we fought for: fiscal sanity, efficiency, the future. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. Musk's words weren't just criticism. They were a declaration of war. This bill threatened to unravel his vision of a lean, tech-driven America. And with Tesla's stock already shaky, down 14% that year, Musk was risking his empire to take a stand. But the stakes were even higher. If the bill passed the Senate, it could tip the economy toward a recession, economists warned, hitting everyday Americans hardest: families, workers, the very people Trump and Musk claimed to champion. Musk's post wasn't a one-off. Over the next 48 hours, he fired off dozens more, each one sharper, each one digging deeper into the heart of Trump's agenda. He warned of economic collapse, mocked the bill's supporters, and rallied his followers to pressure the Senate. This wasn't the Musk who'd grinned alongside Trump in the Oval Office. This was a man unleashed, a man ready to burn bridges. For Christians watching this unfold, the bill wasn't just about dollars and cents. It was a test of leadership, of stewardship, of the values that guide those in power. Matthew 12:25 warns, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." As Musk and Trump squared off, that division was growing fast. This moment marked the end of the honeymoon. The Trump-Musk alliance, once a symbol of unstoppable momentum, was cracking under the weight of ambition and ego. The fallout wasn't just about two men. It was about a nation already stretched thin by polarization, now facing the prospect of economic turmoil and political chaos. If these two giants couldn't hold it together, what hope was there for unity? Musk had thrown down the gauntlet, but Trump was about to pick it up and hurl it back. June 5th, the air in the Oval Office crackled with tension. Donald Trump, flanked by world leaders, faced a question that couldn't be ignored. What did he think of Elon Musk's attack on his big, beautiful bill? The president didn't hesitate. Elon? He's disappointed. He knew the bill inside and out. Maybe he's just mad about those EV subsidies getting the chop. "I think he misses us," Trump quipped. This was no offhand remark. It was the spark that turned a simmering rift into an all-out war. Within minutes, Musk's phone lit up. The world's richest man, never one to back down, was about to unleash a response that would shake the nation. Musk took to X, his platform of 220 million followers, and fired back with a fury that stunned even his loyal fans. "Without me," he posted, "Trump would have lost the election." It was a bold claim. As the day unfolded, Musk's X feed became a battlefield. Post after post tore into Trump's bill, his advisors, even his leadership. Each one landed like a grenade, shredding the image of their once unbreakable alliance. But silence wasn't in Trump's playbook. For Christians watching, the exchange was a stark reminder of Proverbs 15:1. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Both men chose harsh words, and the consequences were about to ripple far beyond the Oval Office. This showdown wasn't just a clash of titans. It jeopardized a fire that would cost billions, with Tesla's stock plummeting and SpaceX's government contracts hanging in the balance. It jeopardized doubts about Trump's ability to unify his party for the bill's Senate vote. And it kindled fears that America's fragile recovery could falter if these two giants kept tearing each other apart. The question loomed: how much worse could this get? The feud had gone from words to warfare. On June 5, 2025, Donald Trump, stung by Elon Musk's jab, took aim at the heart of Musk's empire. In a blistering Truth Social post, the president threatened to gut billions in government contracts for SpaceX and Tesla, deals that kept Musk's dreams of Mars and electric cars alive. This wasn't just a slap. It was a declaration of war, raising the stakes from personal insults to economic devastation. Trump's post was surgical. "The easiest way to save money," he wrote, "is to terminate Elon's subsidies." For Musk, those contracts weren't just cash. They were the lifeline for SpaceX's missions to the International Space Station and Tesla's global ambitions. Losing them could cripple his companies, his legacy, and his vision for humanity's future. The stakes couldn't be higher. Musk's net worth, already down $34 billion from Tesla's plunging stock, faced a death blow. Trump's own credibility hung in the balance. Could he afford to alienate the man who bankrolled his 2024 victory? And for America, a fractured alliance threatened chaos in space exploration and economic stability. But Musk wasn't one to back down. Hours later, he fired back on X, announcing SpaceX would decommission its Dragon spacecraft, the very ships NASA relied on to reach the ISS. It was a reckless gambit. Social media erupted. One X-user, a retired astronaut, pleaded, "Elon, don't do this. America needs Dragon." By dawn on June 6th, Musk relented, posting, "Okay, we won't decommission Dragon." But the damage was done. Why did Musk make such a drastic threat, only to reverse it? Was it a calculated bluff? The fallout was immediate. Tesla's stock cratered 14.3%, wiping out $150 billion in market value. Trump Media, the president's own company, shed 8% as investors panicked. Even Trump's allies piled on. The threats were piling up, but this was no mere shouting match. The feud was spiraling toward a point of no return, and whispers of a truce were already stirring. Could these two giants pull back from the brink? Or was something bigger, something uglier, waiting in the wings? What began as a policy spat had morphed into a high-stakes power struggle, with each man wielding weapons that could reshape industries, markets, and America's future. For Christians watching this chaos unfold, the spectacle was more than tabloid drama. It was a stark reminder of the destructive power of unchecked anger. Ephesians 4:29 warns, "Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths." Yet here were two titans, entrusted with immense influence, tearing each other down in full view of the world. The cost wasn't just financial. This feud risked dividing a nation already on edge, undermining trust in its leaders, and shaking the faith of millions who looked to them for stability. For every Christian, it begged the question, when power turns toxic, who will stand for truth? As the dust settled on June 6th, one thing was clear. The war wasn't over. Trump and Musk had drawn blood, but the real question lingered. Could they stop before they destroyed everything they'd built? And what did Musk mean when he hinted at more truth to come? Was there another bombshell waiting to drop? As the world held its breath, a faint hope emerged. Allies scrambled to broker peace, but the wounds ran deep. Stay with us to see if this storm could calm, or if it was just the eye of a greater hurricane. On June 6, 2025, the storm seemed to break. The feud that had scorched X, tanked billions in market value, and thrust America's space ambitions into chaos, paused for a moment. Donald Trump and Elon Musk, once allies turned bitter foes, appeared to step back from the abyss. But in a clash of titans, could peace really hold? Or was this calm hiding a deeper reckoning? The war of words had shaken the nation, but now whispers of reconciliation emerged, as allies and aides scrambled to pull two giants back from the edge. Trump, outside the Rose Garden, he told reporters, "Elon's a great guy, but I'm focused on making America great. I wish him the best." It was a stark pivot from his Truth Social tirade, threatening to terminate Musk's subsidies. Meanwhile, Musk, the king of X's 220 million followers, stunned his audience with a single post, wishing Trump well in his mission. No memes, no jabs, just 8 words that felt like a white flag from a man who just threatened to cripple NASA's access to the International Space Station. But was Musk truly ready to move on? And could Trump, whose grudges are legendary, let go of Musk's betrayal? Or was he plotting his next move behind that golden smile? The call for peace wasn't just from power brokers. Ordinary voices rose above the fray. A Christian pastor from Georgia, with just 200 X followers, posted a viral plea. "Brothers, stop this madness." Psalm 133 says, "How good it is when God's people live in unity." Her post was reshared 10,000 times, a ripple in the digital ocean. Even Wall Street titan Bill Ackman, a Musk confidant and Trump donor, weighed in, urging both men to put America first. The stakes were staggering. Tesla's 14.3% stock drop erased $150 billion in market value, slashing Musk's net worth by $34 billion in 48 hours, enough to fund NASA's entire budget for 2 years. Trump's Big Beautiful Bill, a $2.4 trillion tax and immigration package, teetered. For Christians, the cost was deeper. A nation fractured by pride, crying out for leaders to model humility. If this truce failed, the fallout could destabilize markets, derail Trump's agenda, and deepen America's wounds, leaving every believer to wrestle with a question: can we heal what pride has broken? Colossians 3:13 calls us to forgive as the Lord forgave you. For a fleeting moment, Trump and Musk seemed to hear that call, stepping back from the brink. But forgiveness requires humility, and humility demands surrender. As Christians, we're called to pray for our leaders, to seek truth amid the noise, to bridge divides with love. Yet the shadow of pride loomed large, and the question remained, could this peace endure? Or was this détente a mirage, a brief flicker of hope before the flames of ambition roared back to life? The feud between Donald Trump and Elon Musk wasn't just a clash of titans. It was a seismic event that sent shockwaves across the globe. In mere hours, their war of words on X and Truth Social unraveled billions in wealth, fractured political alliances, and left the world questioning America's stability. This wasn't a petty squabble. It was a reckoning, one that every Christian must heed. Proverbs 18:21 says, "The tongue can bring death or life. Those who love to talk will reap the consequences." The right use of the tongue will impart life, and, conversely, the wrong use will impart death. Going about spreading slander, idle, untrue, exaggerated, malicious talk is gossip. The very title of Satan in the New Testament, the word rendered devil, means a slanderer in Greek. Not only must we be careful not to give out gossip, but we also have a responsibility not to receive gossip. Proverbs 18:8 says, "Rumors are dainty morsels that sink deep into one's heart." How true this is of human nature. When we hear something about someone that is bad or shows them in a bad light, something in the human heart rejoices. Be careful so that when one of those choice morsels of gossip is placed in front of you, you do not swallow it. They are poisoned. They taste sweet, but they poison us. And as we receive these morsels of gossip into our hearts, our lives will become poisoned by them. Proverbs 20:19 says, "A gossip goes around telling secrets, so don't hang around with chatterers." To forgive, or are they letting pride lead them down a dangerous path? Here's where it gets heavy. This feud isn't just about two men. It's a mirror for our world. This feud is a wake-up call, showing us how fast division can spread. But what if there's more to it? What if this is a spiritual battle unfolding right before our eyes? As Christians, it's easy to get discouraged when we see leaders fighting. We might feel helpless, wondering if things will ever get better. But here's the good news: God is bigger than any feud.